Hi there everyone, welcome to Books Done Wellbeing. My name is Tim and thank you for joining me here today for the third part of my therapy diary for my cognitive behavioural therapy that I am currently going through, and that I'm sharing with you guys in an effort to make sure that you are aware of what happens when you go to cognitive behavioural therapy, at least from my perspective anyway, because my perspective will be different to yours, I'm sure, but having a little bit of a foundation of knowledge takes away some of that fear of the unknown when it comes to going to therapy and getting yourself the help that you need so that you can hopefully make those steps towards making yourself that little bit better with your mental health. So thank you so much for joining me here today. We are on to my third sort of main appointment of cognitive behavioural therapy. So I have had I've done video on my initial wanting to go to the GP and ask for it, my then initial assessment, and then the two appointments that have led up to this one. And appointment number 3 was a little bit, it's kind of the halfway point actually, because there's 6 total appointments that I am supposed to be going for, unless I then get referred to do a higher intensity cognitive behavioural therapy after this, which the projection that I see for myself, I do not see that I will need, because I think that I've been making some strides towards making myself a little bit better since then. But it's always an option, I suppose. Depends whether they say that I qualify for it enough, I guess. But we're on to appointment 3, which is the kind of halfway point once this appointment ends. And I do apologise, I missed last week's video because it's been such a busy week. So this is a couple of weeks ago now, so I'm just trying to reacquaint myself with what that appointment was all about and not getting confused with appointment 4, because I have had appointment 4 as well already, and I'm recording these videos back to back. So appointment 3 was a little bit more of a recap. So start of every appointment, you go through the usual health and safety questions, you do your PHQ-9, you do your GAD-7, she asks you about your mental state as to whether you're at risk of hurting yourself or others or ending your life or anything like that. Those are at the start of every single session. She covers as well, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this, but it kind of stuck out to me. She covers whether you've got a help system in place as well. So in the first appointment, I did tell her that I have a help system. I've got some very good friends who I can talk to about these things. I've got family who I can spend time with. So I've got this help system in place that I can utilize in order to try and bring my mood up or talk through these issues. And she also talks about, because she gave me the crisis team number and stuff like that, and she asks at the start of every appointment, would you, if you felt the need, would you use that crisis number? And I suppose really you don't know the answer to that until you're actually in the need, but I like to think that I would, so I always answer yes to that one. So we go through those usual questions, and then we've got a little bit of a recap session at the start of appointment 3. So we went through the problem statement that we created at the very start of all of this. So if you remember back to video 1, we created a problem statement for myself, which is basically a paragraph of my problems, which is, it's not very pleasant. Probably the least pleasant thing that I've done so far in the CBT anyway, is having to go through that problem statement and then a few weeks later listen to it back again. And basically we were seeing whether some of these things still apply, whether some things are slightly different, whether they are changed, whether we need to add in little bits more to the problem statement, whether we think that some things we can kind of take out or they're not quite as important anymore. So she read through the entire problem statement with me, and if you remember, the problem statement, I don't think I've got the notes for that one here. No, I don't. The problem statement starts with my main problem is, and then it goes on to talk about your triggers. It goes on to talk about what you do as a result of it. It goes on to talk about how you feel, what you think during those times of heightened anxiety or periods of low mood. So yeah, my problem statement was a little bit difficult to listen back to, and it doesn't make you feel good to listen to it, I'm not going to lie, but it's quite refreshing in a way to hear your problems just read out to you like that. As like the start of the appointment, 5 minutes in, and she is just outlining everything that I have said over the course of, and I'm pretty sure she's added little notes in there as well, here and there. But yeah, we're outlining everything that I said in that first appointment. So these are my problems, and as you are listening to it, you can kind of analyze whether they are still problems and whether you feel that those things are being tackled. So I think we highlighted that some of the things like my motivation and things like that have been not fully addressed, but we've started to address them. I've started to work on getting a bit of a balance to my life, which allows me to have that bit of motivation to do YouTube videos. My YouTube has, both of my YouTubes, I've been recording consistent videos for them in order to put out the content, which I was struggling to do before. So, and then I've also been running 3 times a week as a routine. I have stuck to a routine of 3 times a week of running, and got myself up to running 5k, which is something that I'm incredibly proud about. And a video that's going to come at a later time is my pride at the work that I've done this year, I guess. So yeah, she read through the problem statements, and some of those things were less applicable now than they were 3-4 weeks ago. Some of them were perhaps not addressed quite so much. So I still have feelings of negative self-worth. So my self-esteem, for the most part, is pretty low, and it always has been, really. I've always struggled with my self-esteem. I am a bigger guy. I'm not overly handsome. I'm kind of nerdy in my hobbies, and there's a lot of times where I feel like I understand why people don't want to be my friend. I understand why people don't want to be around me. I get it, and I project that upon myself as, okay, I'm here on my own then, because not too many people would like to be around me. I've had periods in my life where I was an actively bad person to be around. Again, that's another video for another time, I guess. But yeah, feelings of self-esteem and self-worth, I don't think we've really touched upon much of that in my CBT so far. And having now had appointment 4, she did mention that we are going to be working on that in the next couple of appointments as well. And then we also reviewed my goals that we set out at the start of everything. So my goals were to kind of get back into a routine, to increase my motivation, to make sure that I'm staying in work, to increase my motivation for my fitness, to increase my motivation for doing things that I enjoy. So less time sat watching or not watching YouTube, putting YouTube on in the background and not watching it, spending more time doing the things that I enjoy, reading, playing video games, looking at my trading cards, YouTube videos, all of these things, trying to spend more time running, potentially going to the gym. All of these things are things that I need to build up in my life as to what I want to accomplish. I want to do these more, but I was really struggling and just getting myself into that hole, that kind of depression pit of put some sad songs on or put familiar videos on and just watch them and not really pay attention and not really watch them. So yeah, I feel like I am well on my way to actually getting towards those goals. Those goals are seemingly within reach now, because I'm actively wanting to record YouTube videos. I'm actively planning out decks for my TCG channel. I'm actively going and playing video games. I picked up a book for the first time in a couple of months, and I hadn't done that for so long. And before that, it was a couple of months before that, and I've been on the same book now for 6 months, and it's only a little one. So yeah, I've started reading again, and all of these things make me feel a lot more positive, especially when you look at them in review like this, as yeah, I'm doing something about it. And I think some of it is the fact that I'm in the appointments and I've got therapy going on. I know that therapy does not work unless I commit. The therapists can do their job as much as they want. They will get paid at the end of the day. They can do whatever they wish. If I'm not putting the work in as well, it is not going to work. So I need to make sure that I am putting that work in. So because I am actively seeking help, I am actively on medication, and I am actively going to therapy, I need to put that work in myself as well. So there's some things I can still work on. If you could see the rest of my house, it is quite a mess at the moment. So things like that could use some work, and this kind of goes on to the next stage of the process, which is that 3-stool idea that we talked about in the last appointment. So the 3-stool idea is that you have, imagine a three-legged stool idea, in that you've got a stool with 3 legs, and these are the activities that you do in your life, and they can be broken down into doing necessary activities, routine activities, and pleasurable activities. So necessary activities, it is necessary to go to work or to do something in order to earn some money in this life. It is necessary to attend appointments. It is necessary to pay your bills. These are all things that you have to do. It's necessary to look after your finances. These are all things that you have to do in order to survive in this world. It's necessary to eat. It is necessary to make sure that you are drinking. So yeah, these are all activities that that are needed. You've then got routine activities. So these are activities that you do as part of your daily routine. So this is looking after yourself. So is it necessary to look after yourself, like having a bath and brushing your teeth and things like that? Technically no, but should you do it, and is it part of your routine? Yes, absolutely. So waking up in the morning, getting out of bed, having a bath, brushing your teeth, all of these things are routine. And then household chores would be routine. Yes, it is technically not necessary to do the washing up, but eventually you run out of bowls and then you need to do it. So it's a routine thing that you need to do. And then lastly, your stuff that you do for kind of pure pleasure, which is, things like playing video games, things like reading and stuff like that. And then some of them can overlap. I said that running at the moment is a pleasurable and routine activity. I am doing that in order to make myself feel better. I'm doing that for my own health. I'm doing that to lose weight. So it is a routine activity, but it is also pleasurable. I enjoy doing it. So yeah, that's something that kind of falls into both camps, and they can cross over a little bit. Work is routine because it takes up a lot of your day every day, and it is also a necessary one. And if you're lucky, it could be pleasurable as well. So yeah, these are things which, if these are out of line, essentially, if you're doing too much of the routine and you're not getting enough of the pleasurable, your stool is going to be wonky. It's going to fall over. It's not going to be able to stand balanced. So yeah, this three-legged stool idea, it kind of really makes it. It doesn't mean you need exactly the same amount of activities in each. You probably won't have that many necessary activities in there, but those necessary ones might be the ones that take up the most time and are actually the most stressful, because you need to earn money, you need to work on your finances, you need to pay bills, and these are stressful things, which that means that they probably take up a bigger chunk. So what we had to do, what I had to do was she kind of had me go through the hierarchy of activities. So this was my homework between appointments 3 and 4, was doing a hierarchy of the activities that I want to get back into my life again. So the hierarchy of activities is essentially, which one of these activities would it be easiest for me to try and bring back into my life? What am I finding the easiest for me to be able to do at the moment? And then what am I finding the most difficult to be able to do? So this will be different for lots of people. I don't take too many days off work because of my mental health. So I put and it's separated into easiest, harder, and hardest. I put like work into harder. Sometimes I will end up taking a day off work because of my mental health, or sometimes I will really struggle to go into work. So it goes into that harder category. But like an easy one at the moment for me is running. I'm really enjoying running at the moment, and I never find it difficult to be able to get up, get dressed, put my shoes on and go out for a run. I'm finding that quite easy. But then you put more difficult, going to the gym. I'm a fitness instructor, but I do not go to the gym at the moment because I am not happy in the environment in like working out and things like that. And it's not easy for me at the moment. It's quite difficult for me to do that because there's the social aspect of it. There's the fact that my gym is the gym that I work at, so I don't necessarily want to be there. Everybody knows who I am, so they're perhaps looking at me like, he's not actually that strong and he's the fitness instructor, but these things I think are all in my own mind rather than actually what people are thinking. But it makes it more difficult for me to go to the gym over running. And running, I'm just outside and I'm enjoying it. So yeah, I put easiest at the moment is running. Playing video games at the moment is fairly easy. It certainly doesn't tip into the harder category because I can just pick up a game and go for it. But I don't do it all the time at the moment. And then some of the most difficult ones for me, they were things that I needed to go away and think about. So that was my homework between appointments 3 and 4, and the next video we'll talk about that a little bit more. Lastly, we talked about the idea of a boom and bust cycle. So essentially, this is something that happens on a regular basis. I think for a lot of people who have depression or who have anxiety or whatever, I have always kind of said, I will say that I have good days and bad days, but good days are probably just okay in general terms of things. Good days is I'm not feeling absolutely awful, so that's a good day. Whereas a bad day is I'm feeling absolutely awful. On those good days, we tend to do too much. We tend to think, I'm feeling okay today. Let's do this, let's visit this person, let's go and do this, let's do this. And the next day you wake up, still feeling good, let's do this, 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 and then you crash. And then suddenly you've done too much and you've overwhelmed yourself and you've put yourself in a position where you've done too much and you are needing to take that break because now your mood has dipped, now your anxiety has increased, and you are now struggling because you have overwhelmed yourself with all of these things that you need to do, when the more healthy way of doing these things is to spread them out over the course of the week, and that aids you in not actually hitting that bust. It aims you in not hitting that dip down. So it focuses you kind of every day to do a little bit of something, and basically small and often is a lot better than trying to do lots in a short space of time when you're feeling good. And kind of this works in, you can use this analogy, I feel, in a lot of different ways. So I've said before how I struggle with my back. I've got back problems. I've got multiple protruding discs out of my back, and some days my back can be awful, some days it can be fine. And some days it can be pretty good. At the moment, I'm going through a period of it being pretty good. And I do exactly the same thing with my pain. If I wake up in the morning and I'm not feeling pain, I will do more stuff. Let's get the washing up done. Let's do this. Let's do the hoovering. Let's do that. Let's do some decorating. Let's do this. Let's do... Oh, now my back hurts. I wonder why, because I've done too much. And exactly the same thing applies for your mental health. Is just because you're feeling good on that day doesn't mean you need to overload everything to try and make up for the fact that you've had bad days. What we want is consistency. What we want is consistently decent days, consistently like happy to be a 6 out of 10. I'm not expecting anyone to suddenly go ecstatic or anything like that, but happy to be at a 5 or a 6 out of 10 rather than a 1 or a 2 out of 10 in your mood. So, and try and get that sort of status quo all of the time, and then work on bringing that up. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of working on at the moment. Is I'm trying to work on consistency is my main thing. So consider, and that's been the I think the main talking point of a lot of this CBT is trying to get some consistency in my life. So today I've got a day off, and I woke up this morning and said to myself, oh, I'm going to record like 5-6 YouTube videos today. I'm not. I've cut it down. I'm going to do 3, so that I'm not pushing myself too much, and then I can go away from this, do a little bit of editing to it. I've got time to edit. I've given myself time to edit, and then go on my Switch for a little while and play a bit of Pokemon and relax for a little bit. So yeah, that is basically what we went through on all of appointment 3. Is we covered this boom and bust cycle, we covered this hierarchy activities, and the hierarchy of activities was my homework for in between sessions. So I had to go away and pick all of the activities that I do or would like to do, and work out which ones are the easiest to do, which ones are a little bit harder than that, which ones are the most difficult to do. And we'll cover all of that in the next video, because I don't want to go on for too long. So hopefully this has helped a few people out there. This is appointment 3 of my therapy diary. I've got 3 more to do, and then I've got plenty of stuff to kind of talk through with you in terms of extra videos going on. So please do make sure that you subscribe to the channel if this has been helpful to you. I've mentioned it a couple of times. I've got a TCG channel as well, where I go through all of my trading cards and stuff like that. Please do go subscribe over there. It's Buxton TCG. And yeah, I hope that this has been helpful for some people out there. This is the stuff that is kind of a little bit less personal, despite it being a therapy diary. These videos are a little bit less personal. We're going to go into some more personal stuff at some point in the future. So these are things which I just felt like this could help. So I hope that it has. Please do consider going to cognitive behavioural therapy, or going to counselling, or whatever therapy it is that you could potentially get, because I do believe that it is helpful. It has helped me so far a lot. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you all stay safe, and I'll see you next time.